So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about this literature heart and soul project. And for years, um, having got a master's degree in literature, I tried to do these classes in a very academic kind of way, and they were good because I was still doing them, through my spirit and enthusiasm. But I kind of did them in the kind of structure of an academic class, and I was never really happy with that. I never really wanted to do that. What I wanted to do was break the boundaries of kind of academic formal study, like an examination of the book, stripping it down and dissecting it. I never really wanted to do that. What I wanted to do was use the books to talk about life, to talk about your experience and my experience and how they differ and how they are similar, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to light people up by reading prose that is close to poetry, that says something about life that we can't articulate in our everyday existence. It captures something. It captures something that we feel, that we can't express, and it's there in the book, and you go, yes, that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about. And I often did talk about that in class. We obviously got to those spaces, but I suppose the tone of it, or the kind of direction we came at, was I suppose informed by my academic kind of years. So we approached it in a very kind of an analytical way, I suppose is what I want to say. And I was never really, really happy with that. I as I say, I wanted to break out and just do it my own way, which is riffing and just going off at tangents but just doing it for the love of the words, doing it for the love of the story, doing it for the love of the characters, doing it for the love of the dilemmas they're put in, doing it for the moral, psychological, philosophical, social problems and issues and situations and circumstances that came up in the books. I wanted to explore that as though we were there and as though we experienced those things in our own lives, which we often do. That's what I wanted to do. That's the passion I wanted to bring to it. I wanted to say, and again, I said a lot of these things without fully owning it for a lot of years. I used to say that this is not just 2 hours coming to class to pass time. This is how you see the world. The judgments you make about this book speak volumes about how you see the world, what your perspective is. It's excellent feedback if you read a book and you make a judgment about, I don't know, Bryony in Atonement, and you think that she's a terrible kid and she should be locked up, or if you think that she's only 13 and therefore she should get some slack, even despite the things that she's done and the consequences that have happened, come about because of what she's done. It says a lot about you. It's not necessarily right or wrong. It's just who you are, and understanding that, I think, I don't know. I think it just gives you a richness, and maybe if there are things that you're uncomfortable about and you have blind spots, you can do something about those. For me, that's what this project is. That's what Literature, Heart and Soul is, and it took me a long time. And it's funny, I came to this name, Literature, Heart and Soul, and that's all I ever wanted to do. It was the heart and the soul of it. It wasn't the intellect of it. It wasn't the brains of it. It wasn't being clever. It's funny, people come to class sometimes and they want to show how smart. I mean, this goes from young people to really old people. They come in and they just want to show how smart they are. So they drop these intellectual bombs. They use a really complicated word, hoping I won't know what it means, and sometimes I don't. I'm not particularly smart when it comes to knowing loads of different words, and they'll use a word and you think there's not really the connection there. They don't really want to really open their heart to the book. They're just posturing. And that's not wrong. Again, this is not wrong. This is just human behaviour. It's what we do. But sometimes I'll just, throw it back to them. What do you think? You know what I mean? Just to not to not deal with the issue, but it's kind of like, I'm not going to get engaged in an intellectual kind of clash of antlers. That's not what's interesting to me. What's interesting is to see what's in your heart. That's what Literature, Heart and Soul is about. It's looking into the heart of the book, but looking into the heart of the book through your heart. If you're open for all that. And what that will reveal to you is incredible. It can be, because you're just talking to yourself through this book. You're finding out about yourself. You're opening yourself up to things and perspectives that you just might not be aware of or might not see. And it's amazing. So I get pretty passionate about it. I'm very enthusiastic about, this wonderful thing we do, that we can come down and talk about books and we can read and then share our ideas. I hope I'm conveying that in these videos and these little audios. Whatever the book is, I try to give the authors the benefit of the doubt. I'm not really interested in critiquing them. That's not my goal. It's not an academic study. It's not an academic critique. I'm not interested in that. They're published, and some of these books have lasted for 100 years. I'm not going to go and second guess them. That's too long. It needs an editor. What? Stop it. We're just in front of the letters. We might be standing in front of a Rothko, and we're just being with it and seeing what comes up for us. If it's Lucy Snow, if it's Holden Caulfield, if it's Hamlet, if it's Emma, if it's Daisy Fay, if it's Jay Gatsby, if it's Daniel Deronda. I'm running out of characters. Do you know what I mean, though? We're just with them, and we're trying to experience the world that they experience. We're seeing their perspective, not so that we can judge it, so we can widen our own experience. It might not be something we want to be like, but at least we have access to it for a little while. That's the passion. That's what I'm trying to do. Anyway, that's another one of my little audio files. I hope I convey to you my spirit and my enthusiasm, and have a look at my courses and see